Hey guys, here to review Svin Killer's latest album, Drowning into Green Mass, and here is the album cover. Sorry if I said the band's name wrong, but let's get into the review. Alright, basically the best way to describe this band is that they are death metal mixed with gore grind. And it's really the best label I can put on them. A lot of the guitar riffing on this album is very groovy and also in effect very gory. Not to the point where it's ew, disgusting, brutal, and nasty gory, but to the point where you can tell there are a few gore influences in there. But really, the death metal prominence of this album really stands out more. I can pick up a lot more slam death metal and brutal death metal into the mix of this. And yeah, so influentially, instrumental-wise, these guys are all over the place. Couldn't really place a label onto them. On their Facebook, they put gore grind / death metal, and really that's the best way that I could describe them as well. Okay, so the vocals on this album are basically, best way to describe them are just liquidy, deep, low, pig squealish guttural. And a lot of death metal bands have been using this, but this vocal was originally mainly used in gore grind. A few bands that actually use this style of vocal would be, Flesh Rot before they broke up, Fetal Decay, Face of Oblivion. That really deep, low, pig squeal style of vocal that is a low scream but not really a guttural yet with a pig squeal is basically the best way to explain the vocal. And it's not really anything new, but I do have to say the vocals on this album are very, very catchy. And it makes me really want to see the band live because the vocalist's energy in this album, he really does add a lot of spunk to the album along with the instrumentals. But for me personally, the vocalist, being that I am one, I look at vocalists and how they are because I'm a vocalist. So just as guitar players look at guitar players, I look at vocalists. And for me personally, he does have a lot of spunk to this album. He's not really that fast-paced, but it's to the point where he's very groovy and catchy, and he really keeps up with the music. When the guitar riffs get into a groovy mode, his vocals also catch up with grooviness. They're not so fast-paced. They do slow down a bit, but not to the point where it's really repetitive. On some parts of this album, the vocals will get a little bit of repetitive, but not to the point where it's like, oh, kill me. No, this album's actually pretty good on that. Okay, so instrumentals on this album. Instrumentals on this album are actually what got a little tiny bit repetitive for me, and I'll explain that in a little bit after I get through the each one. Guitar riffs on this album. Best way to explain guitar riffs is, as I said in the beginning, gore grind mixed with death metal and slam death metal. Really, just it has a lot of grooviness, very, very groovy in the guitar riffs. Not really so much brutal into the aspects of everything, but it does have a few slam parts in there. But when it goes through the fast parts, it's really a lot more groovy. Something you can find yourself headbanging to, windmill handbanging to, or just really hanging around and enjoying the music as well. The guitar riffing has that aspect of feeling of like a lot of pump into it. This band in general is a band I would like to see live before I pass away, because the band does have a lot of potential, and you can hear it in the music, ranging from the drums, the bass, the guitar, the vocals. You can really hear these guys have a lot of energy live. Not so much energy on the studio album, but I've seen live videos of these guys, and I can picture these guys being live, and that the energy feeding off from the crowd in the back, I can really see this band having a lot of energy live. Bass. Bass on this album was really hard to pick up. I cannot hear it that well. I mean, I can hear it if I strain my ears, but it's not to the point where it's, out there like the rest of it, which is a little bit weird because it's a 4-piece band, and I was expecting to hear the bass because of being a 4-piece, but you can hear the bass, and sometimes it's following the guitar riffs, and other times it's really just going off in its own little world. Bass is played well. I have no really complaints for it whatsoever. Drumming. Now, drumming on this album ranges from the normal style of drumming, but the main style that this drummer uses would be Alienation Mental style of the trash can style drumming, but it's not as fast as Alienation Mental by all means. It's not as fast whatsoever, but it is, decent, fast-paced, slow-paced. This drummer isn't, gonna blow your mind, the fastest drummer in the world, but he does add a lot of rhythm to the band, the trash can style drumming, making it very, very catchy, and that is one thing that is really, really hard to do, and using the trash can style drumming is making it catchy. I was really surprised that I caught myself, listening to this and like, oh, this is really catchy, I like this. Because most of the times when I hear the trash can style drumming, I expect speed, brutality, fastness, you know, everything just ranging from brutal and fast paced. And I have to say that this band definitely changed my outlook on that. So that is one plus about this album. You know, great band, great album. I'm looking forward to hearing more from these guys in the future. I would suggest you guys pick up this. I got this off Severed Records. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Great band, great album. Suggest you pick up Svin Killer's Drowning into Green Mass. I got this off Severed Records, but I'm sure if you Google it or look it up, you know, great album. Just buy it. And a lot of you guys have been asking me about what do I think of 2012 when it comes down to death metal. How do you think we're going to start off and how we're going to do? So far, I just ordered my first shipment of 2012 CDs. And I have no complaints whatsoever. So far, I think we're starting off to a brutal and kick-ass start, just to put it in plain old terms. And one thing I'd like to say, last year, 2011, you know, I agree with everyone and most of the people who say it that 2011 was the power violence, grindcore, and hardcore year. I think those genres definitely slew out a whole bunch of debut albums that were just great, fantastic, brutal, and heavy. But I really think that this year, and I'm hoping it really comes out like this, is that it's going to be the year for death metal. It just says 2011 had, you know, grindcore, all their big releases. This year we have Cannibal Corpse, we have Spawn of Possession, we have Extremely Rotten, and the band goes on, and the list just go on and on and on. And it's going to be a brutal list this year. 2012, I think death metal is going to kick ass all the subgenres. Not only brutal death metal and slam death metal, I'm talking about technical death metal, regular death metal, old school death metal, old school bands. I expect all these bands to do great things with their albums. And let's hope that no more Morbid Angels come and ruin it along. Yeah. Well, anyways, so far, great start for all of you guys who have been asking me and want me to do an opinion video. I'm just going to make it very quick like I did. I think 2012 is going to be kick-ass for death metal, but I do, you know, a lot of people have been asking me what I think of 2011 being the year for grindcore and power violence. I couldn't disagree. I bought a lot of power violence and grindcore last year. I really started to get into vinyl last year, so I got a lot of 7 inches. I cannot disagree with it whatsoever. You know, that statement and opinion, you know, I agree with it. But this year, 2012, kick-ass. You know, I'm psyched for Spawn of Possession. You know, what album are you guys psyched for, subscribers? You know, is there any albums that you guys are completely looking forward to? You already got it pre-ordered. I'm going to pre-order, you know, Spawn of Possessions. Get me a shirt. You know, I heard the single, and the single is just absolutely a fucking blast in the fucking balls. It's heavy, it's brutal, and I like it so much I put a link below because I think everybody who's into death metal, I don't care if you're into technical death metal, you know, brutal death metal, death grind, I don't care what kind of death metal lane you're in, this track will blow you the fuck away. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Have a great day, guys. Hope you all enjoyed the review. See you guys later.